No one declares combat has started. There's no initiative, no grid, no movement speed, no advantage. There's barely any weapons in the rulebook or monsters, and no rolling for damage. Wait, and the game master doesn't roll either? They just decide? Powered by the what now? This seems unfair. Welcome to combat. In Root. This is my third video about the Root RPG, a powered by the Apocalypse game that's actually about politics. There's a link downstairs to the playlist to see the others. Last week, there was a post in the Root RPG Reddit where an exasperated game master, new to the game, asked for help getting their head around the combat system. They said, "I've been studying the rules as best I can, but I can't figure out how combat is meant to work in practice. Let's say a party of 2 vagabonds, a mouse thief and a fox tinkerer, start a fight with a bear. Who goes first? Is there initiative? Or is it just whoever says they're doing something before anyone else? How about movement? There doesn't seem to be a traditional grid-based movement system like in Dungeons and Dragons, but some weapons specify ranges? What if the thief tries to shoot the bear with a crossbow? How close can the bear get in a single move? If the bear is in close range with the thief, is there anything to stop the thief from still using the crossbow?" The answers they received were great and very thorough, but this got me thinking. For every one person who's both brave enough to ask a question and who can find the right people to ask, there must be more who are still wondering but don't do that. So I thought I'd put my answers here rather than duplicate in the comments. Powered by the Apocalypse rules put narrative first. They're not trying to be simulationist in the way that a war game typically is. Dungeons and Dragons came out of war games and so has a lot of assumptions baked in as to what a game needs, as do most role-playing games from that generation of our hobby. Either a sort of mini-game for the combat, or the entire rule set is really a combat system with some role-playing bolted on the side. All role-playing games are a conversation. People take turns speaking, and this weaves a story between us. Some games get stricter about whose turn it is to talk and what order we go in, but this is the first difference to understand. Root, like most PBTA games, does not have a combat system. There's no "combat has begun, so let's start tracking time differently and switch on the minigame." This means that if a character swings at someone with their sword, there's no deciding if it's combat, and if it is, who's included, who's surprised, what order do we all go in. It's just a continuation of the conversation. The game master presents the situation. You all say what your characters do. If the GM decides there's a roll to be made, then dice are rolled. The GM presents the new situation and asks, "What do you all do?" If 2 vagabonds start a fight with a bear, then they're going first. Maybe the bear hasn't spotted them. Attacking someone or something that isn't expecting it from range with time to line up the shots, that's a clear target a vulnerable foe move. The bear takes injury harm, probably shrugging it off due to their armor-like fur, and instinctively rears up and roars. But rules-wise, we're still in the same space. I'll ask the other players, "What are you doing now this has happened?" And if the first answer is something short, then I'll resolve it and move to the next. If it's something longer, like I start going through my pack to find something useful, or I climb a tree, I'll say, "Okay, you start doing that," and move on. Their snap reactions dealt with, I'll tell them what is happening around them now. This isn't 10 seconds of fighting time. This is moments to moments and cutting between characters. The charging bear is included in this, so I'll establish whoever is now nearest is about to get mauled, and this time go to them first for what they're doing. The bear angrily towers over you, lashing out with its long claws. "What are you doing?" Perhaps their response will mitigate some of the harm. If they're engaging with melee weapons, they're definitely in range, and one of the results they can pick if they roll well is to take less harm. Once we've been round, I make a GM move, and so on. That needs to be unpicked slightly. The bear isn't going to stand still and get stabbed by 2 to 3 people before it gets a turn. The move for engaging in melee clearly says that on a success, you trade harm. So everyone going toe-to-toe with the bear is getting maimed as they do it. I'm also going to say what the bear does too, as the fiction demands. It's an active part of the story, not just reactive. The bear rolls no dice. So I can say the bear sideswipes you, and then either the hard move, take 3 injury harm and you're on your back in the river. What do you do? Or if I'm feeling kind of the soft move, it's going to knock you into the river unless you're either acrobatic or fate favours you. What do you do? Pointing the player to moves that might mitigate this from happening. Or they might have another idea, leap into a tree, cover it in bees, put on their running shoes, whatever. Either way, if they don't do something narratively to avoid getting hit, then when harm is traded, or worse, given, they're also now in the river. Actually, this is a good point that people misunderstand. The narrative continues. The world does not stand silently by and still while people take it in turns to hit each other. The game master can at any point move the story on. I make a GM move, but I don't name it. I instead narrate what happens, typically using the bear. The bear can take cover from the initial crossbow bolt in the bushes and then jump out. A blow could cause a rotten tree to fall, hindering your reach. The noise can alert the bear's mate. The GM can say it's an hour later and you're all up trees. There's no list of things a bear can do, just as the PC's moves aren't meant as a list of the only things they can do, just some that will trigger a mechanical part of the rules. If you want to see this in action, there's a lot of actual play videos on YouTube for the various PBTA games, many of which combats in them and are a lot of fun to watch. I had thought of filming an example combat for this video with puppets in, but I think this is long enough. If you've been puzzled by the reputation system in Root, or wondering where all the magic items are, then I think I can help with that. I have a video about that. Or, if you've already seen that, I wouldn't say no to a cheeky thumbs up about now, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio!